You're listening to The A to Z of Spirituality by Divine Soul Yolandi Bosel. I work with light workers and starseeds who are ready to transform their lives and shine. I will be covering loads of topics relating to spiritual growth, and I will teach you what I have learned on my own journey so far. A journey of connecting with my sacred Mary Magdalene sisterhood, my cosmic lineage, my earth ancestors, sacred sites around the world, and my own divine soul. So, if you are ready for some profound ideas and deep spiritual connection, make sure you join me today. Grab a cuppa and let's shine. Good day, beautiful souls. I am very excited to be here today, and today we're looking at D. So D is for DNA activation. This is literally the thing that I think I love most about my work. So I'm very excited to get to tell you more about this today. And there's just so much to share. And I think what I will do today is I'm going to start with my own story and basically tell you a bit more about how I got to this whole working with the DNA activation. And then I'll just give you a little bit more information about what it's all about. Right. So when was this? So last year, I moved to the UK, and a few months after moving here, a very good friend of mine told me about this DNA activation that she did with this amazing group of women in the States. And I was intrigued, and the one thing that really caught my attention was when she mentioned about them working with Mary Magdalene. Now, I had literally for about a year before moving here been really connecting with her energy, and I kind of felt a bit like I was being guided to working closer with her. So this obviously immediately caught my eye. And then when I went to go and check out the website to see what does this entail, another word struck me, and this word was the word Amenti. And I had actually had a session with a client just a few weeks before, and this word came up, and it just got stuck in my head, and it's called the Halls of Amenti. And I was like, I need to understand what this is all about. So then I decided there and then, this feels right. I think I need to do this work. And basically what happens is when you do your DNA activation, you get initiated into the Mary Magdalene sisterhood consciousness. And this for me was one of the biggest things, because I just want to work with her and I'm fascinated by energy. And I also then had my tour organized to France, my Mary Magdalene tour that I was going to go on as well. So it was very exciting. So I had my first activation done, my 1 to 24 strands, that was in the August. And then whilst I was in France working with Mary Magdalene energy there, I had the second activation done. So that was like so amazing. And it was really just absolutely beautiful. And it was um it was just like something completely shifted and changed within me. um and it really just, within my soul, I was like, I know that I need to do this work. I know that there's something about this work that deeply resonates with my soul. Working with Mary Magdalene as well, there is just something here. So I actually, after my activation, also signed up to become a practitioner and then study with the team there, which was really awesome. So things then, after the 48 strand activation, started really changing. And for me, because, and what I'll do is I'll speak a little bit now about what actually happens, because the process is that we activate the strands, but the very first thing that you do is you actually have what they call seal removal. Now, there's all these different seals that's been placed on the grid of the earth, and then also on our energetic bodies. And all of these seals are literally there to keep you disconnected, to basically stop you from reaching your full potential. And having these seals removed for me was one of the biggest things, because it was as if my spiritual gifts just started blossoming. Now, I mean, for me, having come from the space of starting my spiritual business from the ground up, I'd done fairly well in my opinion, and I was like, I was going well, but I kind of felt like I was almost a bit stuck, and I knew that my work had to shift. And then I had this done, and all of a sudden I was just flooded with like all of these brand new ideas, and it was almost, it felt like my world just completely opened up. I don't even have another way of like explaining it. Everything just changed, and literally, what was it, like October, November, I I started creating. I knew like October, I could feel there was something bubbling up. I knew there was something happening, and I just created this whole new modality. So, and I still use it now in my work, and I've run my membership course based on it. I do my coaching now based on it, and I just channeled this whole new way of working and like getting deeper back to yourself. And I call it the Lightworker medicine wheel, and I literally just, all of this stuff just started coming in, and I got all this information, and all of the puzzle pieces just came in. And it was all because of this, for me, the seal removal, because the seal removal enabled me to literally start um, seeing things in a different way. It's like your consciousness just expands. And what I love and what I see with my clients every single day is that they go through exactly the same thing. Like people's minds are so open, they look at things differently, and it's just like everything gets turned upside down, and you can just look at the world differently, and it's so beautiful. And then things just start happening. But what what I kind of neglected, and that I didn't pay a lot of attention to, and I was warned about this, and I laugh now because it was such a, for want of a better word, such a shit show. Because I obviously then went into flow, and I was like, oh, everything's amazing and I'm going to create this. But I went into the biggest dark night of the soul because I didn't focus on my shadow work, right? I was like, no, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll just, I kind of like, I'm still holding on to my old ideas and my old ways of doing things. And then it was just like me and my soul had like a massive Barney, right? We were fighting with each other because my hard-ass human was just like, I want to do it this way. And my soul's going, no, we need to start doing things in a new way because you've shifted consciousness. So you have to catch up, and we have to look at things in a different way. So I literally spent December just constantly like fighting with myself and being in this horrible, horrible space. And I mean, looking back now, I'm laughing, but it was really tough. But I can now, and I make such a big deal with my clients about, like, I teach them how to do shadow work, and I'm like, when that resistance comes up, you are in there like Flynn, right? You better go and make sure that you go and see, analyze, work with this, because I didn't do that and I got my ass kicked. And so for me, it was really important that I then sat. Eventually, when I put two and two together, I'm like, oh, maybe I should shadow work what all this resistance is about. And a lot of it had to do with, at that point in time, I was sort of hanging on to a lot of gurus, and I was hanging on to a lot of ideas that my old mentors and teachers and old ways of doing things and stuff. And I thought, no, 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 this is the way I'm supposed to do it. But I didn't connect with my inner guidance, right? I didn't connect with my soul and say, so how do you want to do this? How do you want to work? How do you want to express yourself out there and deliver things, etc.? And the minute I started listening more to myself instead of listening to all my teachers and stuff, and I kind of stepped back from the teachers, everything just went back into alignment, right? Everything just started flowing. My dark night of the soul stopped because I started listening to my inner guidance. And it is so obvious to me now, but at that point in time, I believe I had to go through that so that I could teach my clients how to step more into that fluid flow. So it was such an intense experience. I've never felt like that in my life, but I now understand where it comes from. So therefore, I prepare all my clients. I'm like always like, right, you're gonna do this. Your whole world is opening up. So the way that you think, you should be doing things, the way that you were doing things, all of it's gonna change. And if you allow yourself to surrender to that, and if you allow yourself to fall into that, then this whole process can be really quite amazing. And shadow work now is like my second nature. Um, I probably do shadow work 3-4 times a week, just because I need to stay on top of what is happening with my ego. So I have a very good handle on managing my ego through my life, because that's what happens. The more you step into this expansive part of yourself, the more your ego goes, no, I don't want to do this. Right. So there is like these moments of doubt and these like questioning myself and do I really know what I'm doing? And but then I'm like, okay, I see me. Let's go sit down and talk about this. Right. And me and my soul have a chat. And then I'm like, okay, cool. The human can now proceed and just do things and we're good. So it just has created this beautiful space for me of like, I'm completely owning my fears. I'm completely owning my doubts and I'm in control of it all, right? I can look at it, I can sit with it, I can analyze it, and it really just makes my life so much easier because I'm not in resistance. So that is like literally my favorite thing at the minute. It's just like when I'm feeling shit or stuff's coming up or whatever, I'm literally okay. Let's go and tune into resistance. And then boom, like I deal with it, right? I work with it, I go through it, and I step through it and I observe it. And that's what I love about the shadow work as well. It teaches you to be in acceptance of these parts of you. I'm in full acceptance of my fear parts. I'm in full acceptance of my doubt parts, right? I know they're going to come up. I know they want to be seen, and that's okay. My issues and everything is there, but I'm not constantly trying to fix it or make a drama out of it or whatever. Like for me, the fact that I can observe myself in that fear mode actually makes me less scared. Like I still get nervous, for instance. So just an example, when I'm doing, say, a big group meditation, right? Before the time, I have like these few minutes and I'm like, I'm literally shitting myself and I'm going, oh, this is never going to work. This is so hectic, everything. And then I'm just like, dude, come on, what are you doing? So then we just sit and I like fall into it. Like I allow myself to feel the fear. And then the minute I felt it, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm good. I can do this. Like I know I'm meant to do this. I know this is my work. I know I'm good at what I'm doing. And then I just move on. So it's such a good position to be in because I know myself so well now that I can like seriously I can do anything. And that's what I love about this work because it has put me into that space where I realize that I am so much more than what I think I am. When I'm in that space of connecting with my soul and being in this, like I'm so expansive. I've got so much like to give to the world, right? So for me, that's really, really awesome. So yeah, so then I went through my process of the dark night of the soul. I got out of that and things just started flying. I actually, when was it? A year after the activation, I woke up one morning and I had this weird message. And the message in my head was go and sit and see what you've created over this year. And I actually I wrote a blog post about it. So, but I thought I'd just share with you here as well. But I sat and I started looking at what I created within one year. And I just took a few of these things and I just wanted to share them with you today because I literally was quite astounded at my capacity for creation, which was pretty damn cool. And all of this stuff happened during the biggest pandemic that this earth has ever seen. So for me, it was even better because it was like filled with all of that stuff going on outside of my house and outside of my life. I was still able to maintain and grow and become this version of myself that I absolutely adore at this point in time. So I sat and I did some calculations. I came up with the following numbers. Okay, so These are just a few of them. I had 266 client sessions in that 1 year. I'd created 3 new courses, and these were all brand new courses, things that I'd never done. And then I ran them as well, and they were pretty successful and awesome. So yeah, so I created 3 new courses. I created a 6-month membership program, which I then ran this year, and that was absolutely life changing for the participants. So I loved that. In that time, I launched a brand new website. So rewrote a whole entire website and launched that. I launched a brand new podcast as well, which you are listening to now. So welcome to my podcast that I launched this year. I ran 14 workshops, a lot of them during the height of the pandemic as well. I did 3 radio interviews. I've now got my own column, which is starting in January, where I get to write about my travel to sacred sites, which I'm super excited about. I created 30 YouTube videos. I did 52 Facebook Lives. And I went on 13 weeks of holiday. So in the 1 year, and this is generally like my standard is I need 3 months off. So I exceeded that by a week as well. And all of this is done by working 3 days a week, right? So all of that stuff was 3 days a week that I spend in my business. That's a really important fact for me. Because I don't work 7 days a week. Weekends are my family time. Mondays I work for my husband, and Tuesdays I literally that's my hiking days, and I need to do the things I need to do, right? So Tuesdays are my days. So all of these things happened in that year. And then I also completed a 3-month course, a Jungian course. I did about 2 or 3 other smaller courses in that time. I started also my Avalon Priestess training in August this year. So, and I'm doing a mediumship course at the minute, and I'm involved in a whole lot of groups. Started a symposium, which is running in December. I'm part of a new goddess project. So, I mean, I am just so much is happening for my business. And, and there's some more magazine articles coming out in Jan about my business, all of that type of stuff. So it literally just changed everything for me. And one of the biggest things was when I looked at my income from the month of November in 2019 and I compared it with my income for August 2020, there was a staggering 585% difference. Okay, so it was huge. So the amount of money that I made last year to less than a year in was crazy. And my business is just growing, and I'm generally booked probably about a month in advance, right? So I'm already taking my DNA bookings are going into January now. So for me, it's like all of this stuff is a result of this massive shift in consciousness. And that's what this work did for me. And one of the big things that came out as well was that one of my big spiritual gifts that was revealed to me was my ability to channel. And I remember when I started my spiritual work, I actually did some channeling courses and I just couldn't ever get anything right. And I was like, I know I need to channel, but this is not happening. So, I mean, I paid people to teach me to channel and I couldn't channel. I just never felt right, but I knew deep inside. And all of a sudden, I think it was in the beginning of this year, things started shifting and something inside me said, no, you need to go try this out. So I actually asked a bunch of ladies if I could practice on them and stuff. And I did. And it was magical. I was able to bring through this amazing information through connecting with their souls, and I could literally channel their souls, what the soul wanted to say and what their guides wanted to say. Everything just came through. And now what I do is I combine that with my DNA activation work. So the cool thing for me is that I get to do channeling, I get to do the DNA activation and seal removal, and I get to put my Akashic record knowledge and stuff into that as well. So I feel like I'm just literally living the best version of my work that I can ever do. So for me, I, yeah, I generally, when I am passionate about something, it's because it's made a difference in my life. And that is the only reason why I like to speak about it so much. And that's the only reason I like to share my story so much, is because I really feel that out of everything that I've ever done, this has created the biggest shifts in my consciousness. And for me, the work is, it's not a magic bullet. It's not a, there you go, you're going to be fabulous, because all of this stuff takes work, right? I'm constantly working on my shadows. I'm constantly working on my resistance and allowing myself to listen to my guidance, allowing myself and teaching myself how to go deeper and deeper into my own guidance for my life and for everything, my work, everything that I do. So I think it's just, this enabled me, and I kind of feel like it opened me up to finding that potential in myself. And when I look back at what I created in the space of 1 year, I'm like, this is nuts. I can't. And then we're talking about, basically, it wasn't even 1 year, it was 9 months, 3 days a week. So imagine if I was working 12 months and I worked 5 days a week, I'd probably be taking over the world right now. Um, but yeah, so basically for me, it's like, this has all changed everything. And the ability to connect with my gift on such a deep level and to serve so many amazing people, I feel that, every time I finish with a client and I finish the DNA activation journey with them, I just want to cry, because you get so close to people and you see so much beautiful potential in them. And I'm just like, can I just go and be a fly on your wall and see like what you are doing in your life and what you are going to be creating? So I literally ask my clients to stay in touch with me, just to let me know what they're up to, because I'm so excited for the potential that lies within them, right? And for the ability to expand and create, because I saw it in myself, because I am literally a walking example of what can happen when you allow yourself to surrender to your own inner guidance. And that is now, for me, that's the root of my work, is to take people back to their own inner guidance abilities. So everything that I create now, everything that I do, is all about you reconnecting with yourself and actually starting from that point. So no more relying on other people outside of you to tell you how to do things. None of that, because everything is within me. Everything is here for me to experience and to expand and to move through. So that's basically my story around DNA. And that is why, like, I can speak about it for hours, literally. But I think the whole premise of this work is that it's your cosmic DNA. We work with it, we activate it, we go through every single strand. And for me, what I love is that once I connect with a strand, I get so much information as well. So as the client's soul steps forward, a lot of the strands feel like they are connected to the potential that you hold within yourself. So the guidance that I get for people in terms of how they can use their spiritual gift to create, and what their soul literally wants to tell them. So, I mean, the messages that I get and the information that I can give to people, I'm usually a little bit awestruck by it, because it's like, where does this stuff even come from? And, it's like, I know that this stuff doesn't come from me. I know that it comes from their souls. And that's what makes me so excited, because if your soul can share that information with me, imagine what will happen if you start listening to your soul, and all that magical stuff that I find and are able to deliver to you when you do this work with me. Imagine when you get to go in there and you get to go and experience it, right? So I learned so much about people and about their souls in this process, and it just absolutely lights me up. So I'm literally like a kid in a candy store. And I think I'm probably one of the only people who wakes up on a Wednesday and goes, yay, I'm going to work today, it's amazing. And then, like, if I know that there's a DNA activation on the cards or a channeling session on the cards, I'm like, yes, this is like amazing. So, yes. So it woke up this part of me that wanted to serve, and it woke up this part of me that wants to help people and guide people. And it makes me really happy to know that we as humans have the ability to tune into our gifts, and we have the ability to expand our lives and just move beyond those limitations. We can move beyond anything if we really allow ourselves to just go and lean in, right? If we allow ourselves to just go and look at the fears, observe them, move through them, and just become part of the dance, become part of all the magic that is. So that was basically my journey with DNA activation. Yeah, the strands are amazing. So if you do decide to go down this journey, you do 1 to 24 first. And it is this process of us removing the seals, the very first thing that changes the way that the energy comes into your body. It changes the way that you connect with energy. It changes the way that you connect with your gifts as well. And it literally, for me, it's always very much, it's like your physical body also starts to change. Your ability to feel energy starts to change. Like I feel so much more connected to everything. I feel so much more connected to nature. I feel so much more connected to other people's energy when I work with them. And I think that was also part of the switch for me, was then that like channeling abilities opened up, right? And then we basically activate to 12 in the first session, then from 13 to 24 in the next session. And I'm always one, I love to have extra sessions with my clients to talk about, like, so what are you going to do? How are you feeling? Where are you at? So I like my little check-in sessions as well. And then the second lot is from 25 to 48. And those for me are quite powerful because we move into more of your clear abilities. So, where's your gift? Like, are you clairvoyant? Are you clairsentient? Are you claircognizant? Are you clairaudient? Which one is the one that your soul wants to work with? And for me, my clear knowing, my claircognizance was the one that my soul wanted to work with. And I can feel that, like, my clear knowing is so on fire. But what I love as well is that my other clear senses have also picked up, right? So like my clairvoyance and those type of things are all starting to almost expand more. So like my clairsentience and my clairvoyance definitely has started expanding. Clairaudience, I can feel like bits of it coming through. So that one I'll give time, but like I can see the difference in the other clairs that I use as well. And then also working with your divine archetype as well. So that we do during the last set of strands. And that's really you stepping into your power, right? So for me, I connected very deeply with the high priestess energy there. And that's what comes through in my work. And that's what I start embodying in my work, is the archetype of the high priestess. It's different for everyone. Everyone else embodies, a different archetype depending on what your soul wants. But for me, that was really quite powerful because I had seen her when I went to Peru, and I had seen that version of myself that wanted to present herself back to me. And when I allowed her this year to come through after the activation and really started embodying that energy, it just all made sense. And, now while I'm doing my priestess training as well, it just all feels so right. So who knows where that's all going to go. But yeah, so if you are interested in DNA activation, please check out my website, divinesoul.me. There's a whole section, there's some videos, there's my blog about what happened, everything. So I would absolutely love it if you want to have a chat about it. I'm always there to give more information. But I think I've pretty much gushed on enough about how important it is to me. Yeah, it's literally, it's a deeper journey into consciousness, and it is magical and beautiful, and I'm so grateful that I have had this opportunity to firstly have my DNA activated, and then secondly, to be able to do this work for others. And I've had numerous clients who, once they had this done, have gone now to study the same modality. So I always think that speaks volumes. Like, you enjoyed it so much and it made such an impact in your life that you feel that you also want to do this work for others, because that's what it's all about, right? It's about us, like, helping everyone else to expand their consciousness, especially if you're in that space of a healer. But what I find curious as well is that I have a lot of business people who also come for activations, because it helps them expand their connection with their businesses and their creative abilities and stuff. So I think it's sort of for everyone. It just depends on what you want to achieve and what you feel is important, and then, make it happen. So yeah. Anyway, so next week we are going to be connecting with E, and I will leave that as a surprise. So I am wishing you a blessed week. May you have an amazing, really good week ahead. And I'm sending you lots of love. And thank you so much for listening to my podcast. And yeah, I will be back very soon. So have a blessed evening.